is really about looking at women that are just pivoting and doing amazing things. And it always gets me super, super excited. And I did mention that when we started in the inaugural season of planting the seed, 2022, when I first spoke to this wonderful woman. And she was one of the first cattle farmers in South Africa that I got to speak to. And it feels like a full circle moment because she's back on the show. And there's been a lot of growth since the last time that we spoke. So I'm going to be speaking to a very dynamic young cattle farmer. Her name is Ipeleng Kwadi Seboni. So wherever you're tuning in from on the African continent, you could learn a thing or two. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Africa is changing, and the world is paying attention. This March, Channel Africa invites you to be part of a new conversation. Africa Matters, a platform where experts, policymakers, and thought leaders come together to unpack the big issues of our time: technology, politics, economics, climate change, and the future of our people. This is where ideas meet action, where change becomes opportunity, where Africa's voice takes its rightful place on the global stage. In March 2026, Channel Africa hosts Africa Climate Change Recovery Summit. Join the dialogue. Be part of the movement. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
The whole population of Africa has been shocked to the depth of its soul.
For 60 years, Channel Africa has been the voice that connects the continent, telling our stories and sharing our vision with the world. This year, we mark 6 decades of broadcast excellence.
60 years of stories, sound, and connection.
6 years of African conversations that matter.
This is 60 years of broadcast excellence.
Broadcast excellence, rooted in Africa's heartbeat and looking boldly into the future. Join Channel Africa as we celebrate 60 years of broadcasting. Still strong, still vibrant, and still giving you the African perspective.
Channel Africa.
From the soil to smart tech, young Africans are leading the agri revolution. Mzansi Mosito on Planting the Seed, with vibrant stories and expert voices. Sundays, noon to 2 p.m. Only on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
We're just in time, 8 minutes into 1 p.m. in Central African time. I am so excited to be joined by Ipeleng Kwadi Seboni. She is a dynamic cattle farmer, an agripreneur, a mentor, and she hails from Brits in the Northwest Province here in South Africa. She grew up being immersed in the rhythms of farm life, and she has built a really impressive farming enterprise that includes cattle breeding, livestock management, as well as themes around agritourism, which is so exciting. She didn't just follow the traditional path into agriculture because she has one of my favorite stories. She started as a teacher, and then she decided she's going to pivot into farming full time, using her skills, her tenacity, and passion to grow her business and uplift other young farmers, especially women. And so that is one thing about her that is important to know, is that she used the skills that she already had as a professional teacher and moved it into her advocacy work when it comes to uplifting others, youth agriculture initiatives that she's been involved in, advocacy work when we look at smart and sustainable farming solutions in South Africa. And also very excited to note that she's one of the featured voices at this year's Mzansi Young Farmers Indaba, which is Africa's leading youth in agriculture gathering that serves as a platform really for young people to come together, agripreneurs, agri game changers, if we could call them that as well, innovators, industry leaders that are coming together to share ideas, to shape opportunities and solutions for a brighter future of farming. A pleasure to talk to Ipeleng this afternoon. Ipeleng, welcome back to Channel Africa. After such a long time, it's good to catch up with you again. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be joining you on a Sunday afternoon. I hope we're going to have a lovely conversation.
Oh, we definitely are. We always do. You know, yours is one of my favorite stories, Ipeleng, because of the pivot from the teaching space into agriculture. It almost feels like it was a natural progression, you know, because farming was not necessarily new to you, but the full-time decision that this is what you're going to do, animal production is your passion, was a new frontier. So talk to me about that pivot, because a lot of women are afraid to do that. We're afraid to switch up, you know, to change our minds, to change careers. How did that pivot happen for you?
Well, with the transformation from my family farm, one of the things that I major in agriculture is to be dynamic, not to be afraid for challenges, And yeah, growing up in the family farm, it made me realize that when you are in the industry, you must take very critical decisions for sustainability. So moving from the teaching profession, it was simple because also in the agricultural sector, we are encouraging farmers to keep on attending this farmers development. So we are encouraging farmers to be educated. It's not only the profession of being out there only, but also you need once in a while to go out there and get to understand the current trends and find other farmers and also try to level up your knowledge. So it wasn't a difficult decision to make. So yeah, it was very simple because also in the agricultural sector, I was able to identify the gaps that are there, and I could see that farmers they need also training on whatever production they are dealing with time and again. So what I did, I also made sure that I partner with some private companies that are offering the trainings to the farmers. So yeah, I also kept on the production side and also on the training side. So yeah, it's a profession of hope.
It's a profession of hope, and one that is, and I think you alluded to that in your response, where development and learning is ongoing. You know, you can't say you already know, and therefore there's nothing more to learn. There's always something to learn. And I also wanted to acknowledge that there are different ways to get in. You know, you've got your own story. Somebody else may have their own story, but a lot of other young people and people that are coming behind you are looking at your story as an inspiration, especially with the pivot that I've mentioned. You know, a lot of young people and even other women that are much older than you are looking at you and thinking, wow, you know, she's made the decision that she wants to get into animal production at this level. I'm inspired by that. I would like to do it. Talk to us about just the early stages of getting into animal production. You know, how did you start? How did you move, you know, the knowledge from your family farm into your own work with Motsetelo enterprise? You know, did you start buying your own animals, or did you how did you do it all by yourself in the beginning stages?
It's a beautiful question because it was not an easy one. Well, what I did, I bought some animals, and also my family have given me some to start my own. And I've identified another land in Brits where I listed the land to put my production going. But as I was in that, it happened that I got married. And what I did, I've realized, Hori, I need to move now to a bigger space. So I've identified a farm in Limpopo. It's a very huge farm. It's about 2,200 hectares and also under lease. So I took my animals and put my animals in that land for expansion. And it was very simple for me. I normally encourage young people to greet whoever who's sitting next to you.
Wow.
You must greet people because you are not sure if you are sitting next to the funder, you are sitting next to an investor. So I've built a very good relationship with many people in the industry, quite confident enough. There were private companies that I knocked on their doors and they kept them open, and they also donated for me. So normally I tell young people, also women, to say, look, go and knock on different doors and don't feel exhausted. There are other doors that will open, others will be difficult, but don't lose hope, you know. So yes, there's a private company that also donated some cattle for me, and I was so happy.
That is such a beautiful story. I'm going to cry. That is so beautiful. Congratulations on acquiring bigger land. You know, I mean, for me, that it's not even just about the land. It's about the fact that you are expanding. It's about the possibility, you know, that you possibly have a glimpse of because you are a visionary. But you too are looking forward to what's going to happen on bigger land and how you can expand with others. So let's talk about that. You know, let's delve deeper into you moving to bigger horizons and how you see your work around animal production and cattle farming expanding, and also how you're incorporating smart agriculture into the work that you do, because I know you've been quite a big advocate for that, but it's something that you've been studying on a personal level as well so that you can grow and expand.
Well, moving from the Northwest Province to Limpopo Province, you know, made me to be to have a confidence in research, you know, and because the climate was not the same, you know, you are used to Brits, it's raining a lot, and now you're moving to a dry place, and at the same time you are navigating around making a profit, you know. So moving there, it made me realize that also I need to make the relationship with the community and with other farmers around. So, and also make sure that at least I adapt to the climate of that area, I adapt to their sustainable method of farming there, and also I'm bringing the existing knowledge in my career to say this is how we make the difference. But my favorite part along those lines is that I've just realized that most of the farmers are having the challenge in their business with this climate that is inconsistent. So I had to go and make the partnership with the ARC in making the research about the climate change. And the relationship made things simple to say, look, as much as farmers, they would like a certain breed that they prefer for their business, but that is not enough. So I ended up turning the farm into a research a farm where each and every challenge that we are encountering in the farm or our neighbors, we are able to partner with the scientists who are bringing the solutions to our problems. So the landscape is being changing, and it's very interesting because now we are researching about the different cattle breeds that can adapt to the climate.
Okay. Sounds absolutely exciting. We continue our conversation with Ipeleng Kwadi Seboni, who joins me via Zoom. And listen, she just keeps pivoting, doesn't she? Moving from teaching into full-time farming and animal production, moving from Brits to Limpopo to expand the horizons of her enterprise. And I think what is wonderful to note is that she's taking others with her along that journey, including people in other supporting fraternities like science and research. We continue our conversation with Ipeleng after the break.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine, weekdays 6 till 9.
In Zimbabwe, traditional leaders are at the forefront of restoring the Miombo woodlands, crucial for rural livelihoods and biodiversity. FAO of the Food and Agricultural Organization has trained chiefs, headmen, and village heads in sustainable forest management, community accountability, and protection from sexual exploitation and abuse.
Traditional leaders are really central because they are the custodians of land and natural resources in rural communities. So in districts like Muzi and Rushinga in Zimbabwe, they really influence how forests are used and protected. So by empowering them, we strengthen local ownership, we improve compliance with sustainable practices, and ensure that Miombo restoration efforts are really community-driven and long-lasting, which is important.
Renee Chudek, FAO Senior Forestry Officer for Southern Africa.
Mornings made better with Peter and Asanda on Rise and Shine. Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. Channel Africa and you have got something in common. The thirst for knowledge.
Welcome back to Planting the Seed. You and I in each other's company until 2. And our conversation with Ipeleng Kwadi Seboni continues, a dynamic cattle farmer. And listen, we've nicknamed her our favorite cattle lady because she definitely is a mover and shaker in her capacity, not only as a farmer, but as an agripreneur, as a mentor. And she hails from Brits and has moved into bigger horizons in the Limpopo province through her work in animal production. Ipeleng, a lot of people know agriculture, right? They know crop farming, they know animal production, they really know what they are doing. But there is still some challenges when it comes to knowledge around agribusiness, which is a completely different dynamic when you look at moving from, being passionate about the work to cold, hard cash. So talk to me about how you've built knowledge and just anything that you'd like to share, especially with women, in terms of how they can grow their passions into an actual sustainable business.
Well, in the past years, it was very difficult to get the knowledge. I can see now it's very simple. There are a lot of networking, farmers networking, and there are farmers days. There's just so much when you go online on social medias, you can see that there are different stakeholders who are offering farmers day. So I'm also advising the women and anyone, not only youth and women, anyone who has the interest.
Right.
It's a matter of aligning yourself with such programs, making sure that when you attend this Farmers Day, you align with the people that you think this is the business that you want to start and operate in. So I think most of the service providers are there to give the information, to make the information ready for everyone. So it's simple, and you also follow this stakeholders online, and they are able to share the information, especially when you look currently we are having the challenge of food and mouth. So with us, the knowledge would not be enough. But through the social media and these media companies that are offering the information to us, it makes things simple. But also invest in these trainings, identify those trainings in different institutions, whether it's a short term or it's a long term. But you need to understand the colleges or whatever the training institution that offer a certain program, and that will give you more information on the business that you would like to operate.
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that, and I think what you've encompassed in your response, Ipeleng, is about just these different ways to learn. Higher learning institutions, learning from the people that you follow on social media. That's very critical. Finding spaces for mentorship through events, and we're going to talk about actually your participation in the 2026 Mzansi Young Farmers Indaba, which is happening in April. And I'm so excited to see you on the lineup of speakers. But before we talk about that, which is also a very, very important gathering, let's talk about FMD, how it's affected you, how you've been able to navigate that challenge, vaccination, the biometrics that are now having to shift on your establishment. How have you been able to navigate the challenges around FMD?
Well, most of the farmers, they might say their head has not been infected at the moment, but we are all affected.
Yeah.
We need to agree that we are all affected as the country. And I've been affected in a way that now it's different. When you go to the auctions, you need to produce all the health requirements that they need. And also with the movement of animals, it's no longer simple. You need to follow all those health criteria, and which is good, which is something that farmers normally bypass, compliance. So I think this moment is teaching us a lot about the biosecurity that is very important in the economy of South Africa. And looking at it, it starts with us farmers in our farms, practicing that, making sure that you make the records of each and every movement in your farm, and you make sure that people who are leaving their places coming to your farm, before they get to the farm, there's a place where they pass, and also they see how they dip their feet inside whatever methods that you'll be making. That shows that you are also taking care of your animals, as they are also sensitive. But the issue of foot and mouth has affected us this year. Also, when you look at the prices, I mean, if it goes on like this, consumers will go through a lot of challenges of the inflation of meat. So I think with me, I'm very strict when it comes to people who are coming in and out of the farm. I'm also very strict when it comes to transporting my animals. And yeah, that's how I've been navigating around. And also when it comes to the biosecurity, I make sure that I dip my animals, and actually the most highlight is limitation of movement in your farm.
Yeah, very, very important. And, I guess with that, it's also just paying attention to what the communication around the vaccination has been so far from the National Department in Agriculture, as it were, with the minister and his movements in several provinces as well. So very exciting to know that you are going to be speaking at the Mzansi Young Farmers Indaba. You're definitely no stranger to this particular event, but there is just something in the air about the year 2026, and there's an excitement about this year in particular. With other young people from various parts of Southern Africa that want to be involved, that want to attend, that want to learn, that want to pivot, that want to grow. So talk to us about this event. I mean, you've attended previous events and have contributed quite significantly. What have you noted about the importance of this Indaba?
Well, it's a very good event initiative. And it gives us the opportunity to sit with other young farmers, to share what is happening within our farms. It also gives us the opportunity to get the stakeholders very close. And also, it's like farmers are very isolated people. During the day, you'll be in the farm away from everything. But when you attend Indaba, you get to realize that, no, these are the challenges that I have. You are able to raise them to the experts. There are a panel of experts who are there, will be sharing about the challenge in the industry. And there are also the financial institutions that will be there sharing with young people about the opportunities that are there in the financial institutions.
Right.
And also there will be investors who will be available to share what they need and how they can assist us in expanding. But the most important thing is just to sharing those stories, successful stories about securing food for Africa. I think young people need to understand that food security is very important for the country, from the community level to the provinces up to the national, and also expanding to the African continent. When you look at the event, there are a panel of experts not only in South Africa but also in Africa, and you get the opportunity to also build the relationship outside the borders. And also you are able to understand that if I cannot get the funding within the country, there are other opportunities in Africa, and I'm able to invest or also expand and also identify what they need, what's in demand for them, and what is it that I can do to make sure that the product that I have in Africa, in South Africa, is able to move simple, in other countries. So I think it's gonna be a panel of exciting moments where we also get the opportunity to sit at the exhibition sites, get to understand about what the service are being offered. And when you look at young people, there are a lot of young people who are looking forward to attending the Indaba. When you look at the colleges and the universities in the agricultural sciences, there are a lot of young, vibrant people who are willing to say, look, we are studying the agricultural sciences and whatever various opportunities that are there. So these young people get to understand, get to sit with us, get to understand the challenges, what they are putting themselves into. And at the same time, they are also preparing for their future. Opportunities are just there, next to them. It's not going to be difficult like us.
Right. You walk this way so that others can just cruise through, and that is a beautiful, beautiful thing to note, that every generation has their own sort of challenges to pass through so that the others don't have to. And that has been such a central note in your message throughout our conversation, is really about young people just taking advantage of what's right in front of them. Don't make life difficult for yourself when the opportunities are right there presenting themselves. And that doesn't mean that it will be a road that's without challenges, but it is a tad bit easier than it was a year to even 5 years ago. Ipeleng, just in finality, your message, just to your grand message for anyone that could be listening to our conversation around integrating smart agricultural methods, accessing opportunities, or any other message that you'd like to leave people with. And also, we've started a brand new month, so the energy is ripe for us to just absorb some good information. Is there any message that you'd like to leave with our young audience today?
The message that I have is that we must be user-friendly to the planet, promote the green sustainable farming, because the very same soil that we use is the same soil that our great and greatest children will be using. So farmers need to be aware that the use of pesticides and whatever method they are using into farming, it must be smart and it must not be against the nature. They need to work hand in gloves with nature, because as time goes on, we don't want to experience what we're experiencing now of climate change, inconsistent rainfall. So I think it will start with us farmers complying with nature and environment in our farms.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ipeleng. It was so beautiful to catch up with you again. And I will definitely see you in April. And I'm so excited for anyone that's going to get to, hear from you and learn from you. You are so important in the sector. I don't even have the words for you, but you are so important. You are a star in the galaxy, and I hope that you'll keep shining. We'll see you in April. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ipeleng Kwadi Seboni, joining us in her capacity as our favorite cattle lady. Okay. She's also an agripreneur in animal production. She's an expert when it comes to smart agriculture. And she's a mentor as well, and doing really amazing things in the sector, and upholding the supremacy and the integrity of this work is so critical. Something definitely to note about food security, how she takes her work seriously. She spoke about how strict she is when it comes to the biometrics of her farm and who comes in and out. So those types of characteristics are definitely important for anyone who is going to run a serious enterprise and who is serious about feeding the nation. So that is word from our wonderful cattle lady joining us today. If you happen to miss this conversation, we'll have it or want to hear it again, you can catch the YouTube link that will be up online in the next few.
No matter where you are,